It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Power has always carried a hidden cost, and that cost is resentment. The moment you rise above the crowd, even by a single step, someone begins sharpening a blade behind a smile. Resentment is rarely shouted. It is whispered. It hides in the pauses of conversation, in the praise delivered with clenched teeth, in the sudden chill of someone who once celebrated your success. The enemy is not always an open rival. More often, it is the quiet bitterness of those who feel overshadowed by your ascent. Power breeds jealousy as naturally as fire breeds smoke. The human heart struggles to applaud without also comparing, and comparison often festers into envy. You must see the battlefield as it truly is. Not only the open fields where generals clash, but the dark corridors where allies exchange glances. Each rise in status adds another shadow in the room. Every achievement makes someone else feel smaller. The smile of the enemy is the most dangerous mask because it allows the dagger to come close. Do not mistake warmth for loyalty. Loyalty must be tested, and envy must be acknowledged as an inevitable consequence of standing tall. In the modern world, the whispers are digital. A colleague praises you in a meeting but undermines you in a private chat. A friend claps for your achievement online but resents you in silence. These are the invisible daggers, striking not with open defiance, but with erosion. Reputation today is attacked through suggestion, doubt, and quiet exclusion. You must treat these subtler tactics with the same seriousness as a direct assault. Guard your reputation as a fortress, because in many cases perception kills faster than reality. Build alliances through consistent action, not through dependence on affection. Your throne is under siege at every moment. Each decision either fortifies your walls or leaves them exposed. If you let compliments lull you into complacency, you weaken your defenses. If you confront envy with aggression, you invite open rebellion. The balance is command without cruelty, vigilance without paranoia. Imagine your position as a citadel. Every careless word opens a gate. Every unnecessary boast lowers the drawbridge. Every act of arrogance weakens the stone. You must move with precision. Stand tall but not reckless. Allow respect to grow from strength, not from desperation for approval. When disagreement comes, the response must be calm and cutting. If a colleague tries to diminish your decision in front of others, do not argue at length. A short, measured correction delivered without anger shows that authority does not beg. Weak. That's not fair. I worked hard, strong. The decision stands. Let's move forward. The difference is the voice of a ruler versus the plea of a subject. Command is preserved through composure. Anger signals insecurity. Restraint signals dominance. The lesson is clear. Every move you make either tightens your grip on the throne or loosens it. Every careless reaction creates a crack for envy to enter. Every controlled action reminds others that you cannot be shaken. You do not need to manufacture enemies. Envy will rise on its own. Your task is to deny it oxygen, to strip it of openings, to fortify your reign with silence, composure, and clarity. Rule or be ruled. Power begins in the mind. Before a single command is spoken, before a strategy unfolds on the field, there must be sovereignty within. A throne is not carved from stone first. It is carved in thought. If you cannot govern yourself, you cannot govern anything. The discipline of thought is the crown within. It is what separates a ruler from the ruled. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors the impetuous, but only when directed by judgment. Judgment is impossible if the mind is scattered, distracted, or enslaved to impulse. You must seize your own court of thoughts as if it were a kingdom under threat. because it is. Every day, traitors appear in that inner court. They are not cloaked in armor, but in doubt, hesitation, and the voice that whispers you are not enough. These must be exiled with the same ruthlessness a prince uses against conspirators. If you permit one whisper to remain, it gathers others. If you allow hesitation to sit at your table, it poisons the wine. You must practice command over your inner dialogue. Weak: I cannot handle this challenge. Strong: the challenge bends to my will. The first frames you as a subject. The second frames you as sovereign. Language is not decoration. It is a decree. What you permit yourself to say becomes law inside your own borders. Guard that law with vigilance. In modern life, this inner sovereignty is tested constantly. Notifications pull at your attention like rival lords demanding tribute. Comparison drains you as if courtiers spread gossip about your worth. If you do not decide what deserves focus, the world will decide for you, and its decision will not serve you. This is why rituals of discipline matter. A clear morning routine, deliberate priorities, and the ability to say no are acts of self-rule. Every time you protect your focus, you reinforce the walls of your mental fortress. Every time you yield to distraction, a gate is opened and an enemy slips inside. The throne does not remain empty. If you do not sit on it, another power will. Fear will sit there. Laziness will sit there. The expectations of others will sit there. The throne itself is neutral, but whoever claims it directs the court. That is why neutrality is impossible. If you delay, your shadow becomes king. The hypothetical is clear. A mind not ruled by its owner is ruled by its weakness. A general who leaves his command tent unguarded invites a rival to take it. Your mind is that tent. Leave it unoccupied, and the enemy within takes command. The cost of failing to rule your mind is subtle at first. You begin to speak in tones of defeat. You act with hesitation. Others sense the cracks in your presence. Authority leaks when thought is fractured. The opposite is also true. When your thoughts are disciplined, people feel it. You speak less but with more weight. You act with fewer words but greater force. Authority radiates not from noise but from control. There will be moments when someone tries to undermine your stance. Perhaps in a meeting, a peer dismisses your idea with a smirk. The weak response is defensiveness. That's not fair. I deserve a say. The strong response is a calm command. The direction remains. Let's proceed. One displays insecurity. The other projects rule. This is mental sovereignty revealed through speech. It is not about silencing others. It is about never surrendering your throne to the provocation of a lesser voice. Discipline is not cruelty toward yourself. It is loyalty to your highest potential. When you exile the traitors of doubt, you are protecting the kingdom. When you claim the crown within, you are announcing that no shadow can sit where you belong. Govern your thoughts with the same precision a ruler governs his state. Protect them, order them, discipline them. The world bends not to chaos, but to command. Rule your mind, or it will rule you. Every morning is a battlefield. The moment you open your eyes, the war has already begun. If you do not strike first, chaos strikes you. History shows that the greatest generals seized dawn as their ally. Armies under Alexander moved before the sun was high. Napoleon planned campaigns at hours when others still slept. They understood that the one who commands the morning commands momentum. Fortune leans toward the leader who takes initiative, because hesitation in the first hour spreads through the rest of the day like infection through a camp. If the morning is lost, the day is often lost with it. Your first strike is not swords or guns. It is control over your time, your attention, your body. This is the ground on which you fight. If you rise late, distracted and unfocused, you enter the day already retreating. But if you rise with clarity, discipline, and ritual, you march forward with banners high. A ruler does not wait to be summoned by chance. A ruler summons the day and bends it to his will. Ritual is your armor. Just as a knight does not walk into battle without steel, you cannot enter the day unprotected. In the modern world, armor is not metal, but rhythm. It is the structure that shields you from noise and indecision. When you begin with a deliberate practice, exercise, reading, planning, silence, you place yourself in command. Each act of ritual is a plate of armor strapped into place. The body is trained in armor against fatigue. The mind directed is armor against distraction. The spirit centered is armor against fear. Ritual is not superstition. It is preparation. It declares to the world that you do not stumble into the day, you march into it. Consider the alternative. Oversleeping feels harmless in the moment, but symbolically it is surrender. If the general is absent from the field at dawn, soldiers drift, morale drops, and enemies sense weakness. The same applies in your life. The longer you delay your rise, the more advantage you yield to competitors, distractions and demands that pile up while you linger. Oversleep once, and the day presses on you. Oversleep habitually, and life begins to define itself without you. Imagine your rivals sharpening blades while you dream. Imagine opportunities escaping because you did not arrive. The battlefield at dawn does not wait for you. You must train yourself to see the morning as your throne room. Each action is a decree. Begin with strength, and the court obeys. Begin with weakness, and conspirators whisper. Weak, I'll see what happens today. Strong, I command what happens today. The difference is empire or exile. Your language at dawn sets the tone for your entire campaign. Never allow your first words to betray your command. When conflict arises in your early hours, someone challenges your choice to prioritize, focus, or questions your discipline, respond with calm authority. If a peer mocks your strict routine, do not defend it nervously. Simply state, "Discipline is how I lead myself," and continue. A general does not explain the logic of his formation to every soldier. He holds it, and results speak. The morning is the opening move of your daily chessboard. Lose the first move and you play from behind. Win it, and you shape the board to your advantage. Treat dawn as a weapon, not a neutral space. Rise with command, guard it with ritual, and strike before the world encroaches. Own the morning, or the morning owns you. Silence is a weapon sharper than steel. The leader who speaks less often holds more power, because words once given cannot be recalled, but silence can stretch as long as needed. Machiavelli observed that rulers who survived understood the value of withholding speech. To reveal every thought is to surrender position. To measure words with restraint is to guard the fortress of influence. In courts filled with intrigue, the prince who spoke sparingly commanded more respect than the one who let every word spill freely. Silence preserves mystery, and mystery breeds caution in others. In modern life, silence still cuts. A delayed reply carries more weight than a rushed explanation. The pause in negotiation unsettles the opponent more than constant chatter. In an argument, the calm refusal to respond agitates the one who craves your reaction. These are silent wars fought daily. A manager holds a pause after stating a decision, forcing the room to adapt. A leader ends a meeting without answering every objection, leaving others to wrestle with uncertainty. Even in personal relationships, silence can signal boundaries more powerfully than long speeches. The one who controls silence controls tempo. Stillness is not weakness, it is ambush. The predator that waits in tall grass does not waste energy announcing its presence. It waits, watching, conserving until the exact moment to strike. You must learn to wield stillness with the same precision. When provoked, resist the urge to prove yourself with words. When pressured, hold the pause and make the other side expose their impatience. Weak, I need you to understand me. Strong, you have my answer. One invites endless debate, the other ends it. The silence after your words can speak louder than the words themselves. Picture the battlefield of conversation. One side hurls volleys of words, seeking to overwhelm. The other stands still, shielded in silence, unyielding. Which side looks stronger? Which side unnerves the other? Often the one who speaks least gains the upper hand, because restraint implies certainty. A general who holds position forces the enemy to reveal their movement first. The same principle governs human interactions. When you wait, you see. When you speak too quickly, you blind yourself. There will be times when silence meets direct challenge. Imagine a colleague pressing you in a meeting, demanding immediate justification. If you rush to explain, you appear defensive. Instead, pause. Let the silence stretch. Then respond with a calm command. The decision stands, no excess, no apology. The pause itself is part of the response, shaping the room's perception. Authority is not in the volume of words, but in the weight of presence. To weaponize stillness is not to manipulate. It is to conserve power and reveal strength through restraint. Speak less, act with precision, and allow silence to serve as your shield and your sword. Remember that every unnecessary word is a step off the throne, while every controlled pause is a reminder that you are seated firmly upon it. Silence is command. Power is not sustained by kindness alone. It is sustained by clarity, by pruning what weakens the throne. History shows that rulers who endured knew when to cut off threats before they could grow into rebellion. A prince who tolerated conspirators invited his own downfall. Those who acted swiftly, even with severity, often preserved their states. Mercy misplaced was not mercy at all, but negligence that endangered everyone. To rule is to see danger early and strike before it matures. Elimination is not cruelty when it protects stability. You face the same principle in your own life. The court around you is not filled with armored knights, but with influences, habits, and alliances. Some strengthen you, others drain you like parasites, feeding quietly in the shadows. Friends who demand endlessly, but never give back. Jobs that erode your spirit while offering no true growth. Distractions that steal hours without return. Each one is a weak link in the chain of your power. If you keep them, they become cracks in your fortress. If you cut them, you restore integrity. The discipline is the same as the ruler who fortifies his borders. Remove what does not serve the throne. This pruning is not performed once. It must be constant. Every season brings new growth, and with it, new weeds. Ask yourself, what in your life drains strength instead of building it? Who around you pulls you away from command rather than pushing you toward it? The answer is where the blade must fall. Weak, I cannot cut ties, they will be upset. Strong, I must guard my throne even if others disapprove. The throne is not defended by appeasement, but by boundaries. By refusing to cut, you allow rot to spread. The hardest enemy to eliminate is not outside, but inside. Hesitation is the traitor that whispers at the council table. It delays decisions, dulls resolve, and robs opportunity. You must treat hesitation as a conspirator. Behead it without ceremony. When the chance arrives, act. When the decision is clear. Command, to hesitate, is to give ground to forces waiting to strike. Imagine your mind as a court. If you do not execute hesitation, it will one day execute you. There will be moments when others disagree with the firmness of your cuts. A peer may call you cold for stepping away from a draining friendship, or decisive for leaving a job that no longer aligns with your vision. Do not defend with an apology. State with calm authority, "I chose what strengthens me." The difference is decisive presence versus insecure justification. A leader does not explain pruning, he demonstrates its results. Elimination is the foundation of endurance. Without it, the throne crumbles under hidden weight. With it, you stand unchallenged, because you allow no weakness to live long enough to grow teeth. The throne must always be guarded, and sometimes the greatest act of loyalty is to cut decisively. Remove what weakens you, or it will remove you. Appearances decide survival. The mask you wear often outweighs the truth beneath it. Machiavelli understood that rulers could not always be virtuous, but they had to appear virtuous. Image was not decoration, it was armor. Julius Caesar performed before his legions and the Roman people with the precision of an actor. His gestures, his words, even his silences, were calculated to project unshakable authority. He knew that armies marched not only for strategy, but for image. To appear confident was to command obedience. To reveal weakness was to invite revolt. History shows us that those who mastered performance maintained control, while those who exposed too much of themselves were destroyed. You face the same reality, though the stage is different. In modern life, the boardroom, the interview, and even social interactions are arenas where the mask of command determines outcomes. Corporate leaders know this truth. They may struggle in private, but in public, they project decisiveness, composure, and vision. This mask is not deception, it is discipline. You cannot walk into high-stakes negotiations and display every fear. You must show the mask of steadiness, because perception shapes reality. A weak frame invites others to challenge you. A strong frame compels others to adjust. Weak, "I'm not sure, let's see." Strong, "This is the direction we take." The difference is not in certainty of knowledge, but in certainty of presentation. The mask is what makes one response commanding and the other forgettable. The knight's helm terrifies more than the man beneath it. The mask amplifies presence, making the ordinary appear extraordinary. When you walk into a room with composure, upright posture, and controlled tone, you wear a painted helm. People see the mask first, and the mask alters their response. If you show agitation, they sense an opening. If you show composure, they sense walls. The mask is not a lie, it is a chosen face. You must decide which face to show, because the world does not treat all faces equally. At times, others will question your mask. They may accuse you of being distant or overly formal. Do not break character in an effort to defend. Respond with calm leadership. Professionalism is how I maintain clarity. No apology, no over-explanation. A ruler does not remove the helm because a soldier asks to see his expression. The helm is part of command. Those who cannot tolerate it are often those who want access to your vulnerability for their own advantage. The mask of command protects you from envy, from hostility, from misunderstanding. It allows you to direct perception rather than be a victim of it. Without it, you are exposed, and exposure often invites attack. With it, you are exposed, and exposure often invites attack. Wear the mask. Rule the room. Power demands precision, and precision demands elimination. Throughout history, assassins were not soldiers of noise, but shadows of certainty. They were valued not for brute strength, but for their ability to remove obstacles with exact calculation. A single strike at the right time changed dynasties, toppled rulers, and altered the course of nations. Their craft was not about chaos, but control. They understood that one precise action could achieve what armies could not. You must learn from this principle. To master yourself, you must act as your own assassin, targeting weakness with the same cold focus. In your life, the enemies you face are rarely external. They are the hidden saboteurs that sit within. Procrastination is the thief of time. Envy corrodes your spirit and distracts you from your path. Comfort seduces you into stagnation. These are not harmless habits. They are assassins working against you. But unlike historical assassins, they do not strike once. They strike daily, each time you yield to them. To counter them, you must become ruthless. Kill procrastination by acting before your hesitation multiplies. Eliminate envy by redirecting energy into your own advancement instead of measuring yourself against others. Cut down comfort by stepping deliberately into difficulty, because every indulgence of ease makes your will weaker. Weak. I will wait until I feel ready. Strong. I strike now, readiness will follow. Weak. They have more than me. I cannot win. Strong. Their gain is irrelevant. I sharpen my own blade. The difference is the mindset of prey versus predator. You must speak to yourself as the assassin would. Short, decisive, final. No debates, no negotiations with weakness. The blade is meant to end, not to argue. Imagine the throne room of your mind in the dark of night. Fear stands before you, cloaked and trembling but persuasive in its whispers. This is the moment to act as the executioner. Take the blade of decision and strike down hesitation without mercy. If you spare it, it returns stronger. If you cut it, you free yourself to command. The metaphor is harsh, but so is the reality of power. The inner assassin is not cruel. It is loyal to your higher self. It removes what threatens the throne so that your rule is secure. When challenged by others who do not understand your discipline, hold your ground with calm authority. If a peer mocks your refusal to waste time, do not justify nervously. State firmly, I value precision. No anger, no excess. The ruler does not explain why he removed a traitor. The results speak for themselves. You must show the same composure. Elimination of weakness needs no apology. The assassin within is not a destroyer of life, but a guardian of strength. To wield it is to commit to clarity, to remove the unnecessary, to stand clean of self-sabotage. Master yourself with surgical ruthlessness, and the world cannot master you. Kill weakness before it kills you. Power grows when it is fed. Within you lives a wolf, a predator that hungers for challenge, struggle, and conquest. History belongs to those who kept that wolf alive and fed it with the right prey. Leaders who shaped empires were driven by hunger that never allowed them to rest in comfort. Alexander did not stop at one victory. He fed his wolf with endless campaigns. Napoleon drove his forces across Europe because his ambition demanded more. Their hunger was not accidental. It was cultivated. They refused to starve their inner predator, and because of that, they bent the world toward their will. Your wolf exists in modern life as well, though it no longer hunts battlefields. It hunts discipline, obsession, and relentless focus. When you choose the hard path over the easy one, you feed it. When you rise early and sharpen your skills while others waste hours, you feed it. When you commit to a goal and return to it day after day, regardless of mood, you feed it. The wolf grows stronger each time you deny yourself comfort in the name of power. Weak. I'll do it when I feel motivated. Strong. I move whether I feel like it or not. Motivation is inconsistent. Hunger must be consistent. The wolf does not wait to feel inspired. It hunts because it must. This hunger is not cruelty toward yourself. It is loyalty to your potential. Comfort seems harmless, but it dulls the edge of your blade. The wolf that is not fed with challenge turns inward. Starve it, and it begins to devour you from within. You feel it as restlessness, as dissatisfaction, as the quiet despair of unfulfilled strength. That is the caged beast, clawing at you because you denied it the struggle it needs. Many who feel aimless are not weak. They have simply stopped feeding their wolf. They let ease become their diet, and ease is poison to a predator. You must treat your hunger as a tool of command. Do not numb it with distractions or drown it in indulgence. Direct it. Feed it with work that strengthens you, with learning that sharpens your mind, with challenges that stretch your limits. The wolf will not complain if you feed it crumbs, but it will remain small. Give it real prey, discipline, mastery, consistency, and it becomes a force that intimidates others without you speaking a word. Hunger radiates through your presence. People sense it. They see it in your eyes, in your movement, in the way you refuse to settle. There will be those who misunderstand your hunger. They may call it obsession or even arrogance. When challenged, do not defend with apologies. Respond with calm clarity. Ambition is how I grow. A leader does not explain why his wolf hunts. He allows results to reveal its strength. You must show the same restraint. Let your discipline and outcomes prove the necessity of your hunger. The wolf within is both your servant and your sovereign. Starve it, and it punishes you. Feed it, and it elevates you. The choice is constant. The throne belongs to those who never let their inner predator weaken. Feed the wolf, or be eaten by it. Life is a chessboard, and every move you make shapes the game. The wise understand that nothing is random. Every relationship, every alliance, every silence is a piece on the board. Some are pawns, meant to advance and create openings. Some are rooks and knights, capable of influence from unexpected angles. The king is your core, the throne you must defend at all costs. The queen is your strategy, powerful when directed, reckless when uncontrolled. Those who succeed in power see the world in moves and counter-moves, never in isolated events. History proves that foresight wins wars more often than brute strength. Commanders who anticipated the enemy's position, who thought several moves ahead, secured victory even when outnumbered. The battlefield is a mirror of the chessboard. The rash general who acts without vision is easily trapped, while the patient strategist maneuvers until the enemy has no space left. To play without strategy is to surrender before the fight begins. The lesson is timeless. You must learn to think in sequences, not in moments. See beyond today's move, anticipate where the board will be after 3, 5, or 10 moves. Only then do you command rather than react. In modern life, the chessboard is not made of squares, but of networks, opportunities, and perception. Business leaders who map influence treat people as pieces on the board, not in cruelty, but in clarity. They know who advances ideas like pawns, who protects them like rooks, who strikes like bishops. A career, a negotiation, even a social circle is a game of positioning. If you fail to recognize the board, you will always be surprised by sudden checks. If you master it, you maneuver deliberately, placing yourself where your influence expands. Weak, I hope they notice me. Strong, I position myself where I cannot be ignored. Position is never given, it is taken by foresight. The hypothetical is harsh, but real. If you do not play, you are being played. If you do not act as a strategist, you are someone else's pawn. Many live their lives unaware that they are moved by forces beyond them, trends, opinions, manipulations, while believing they act freely. A pawn that does not know the game is still bound by it. The choice is clear: play with awareness or serve without knowing. There will be moments of open challenge. Imagine a meeting where your idea is dismissed as impractical. The reactive move is to argue defensively. The strategic move is to pause, acknowledge the objection briefly, and redirect. Noted, but here is where this approach leads us long-term. That is not defense. It is positioning. You shift the conversation from the current square to the future board, forcing others to see your move in context. Strategy is not louder words. It is better placement. Your task is to study the board daily. Where are you exposed? Where do you hold advantage? Which alliances are fragile, and which enemies are cornered by their own missteps? Never drift through the game unaware. Every decision is a piece advanced. Every habit is a move repeated. If you waste moves, you weaken your throne. If you maneuver with vision, you edge closer to checkmate. Play the board, or be played by it. Willpower is not born in crisis. It is forged daily in ritual. Warriors and monks across history understood this truth. Samurai trained their bodies and minds relentlessly, not for comfort but for endurance. Monks endured fasting, silence, and strict routines to harden spirit against temptation. Their discipline was not random but structured, repeated every day until the will became iron. They proved that resilience is not a gift. It is a ritual built brick by brick. The external storms of politics, war, or betrayal could not break them because they had already faced storms within. In modern life, the principle remains unchanged. The most effective leaders, athletes, and soldiers protect themselves with unbreakable routines. A CEO does not leave the start of his day to chance. He builds a structure that focuses energy. An athlete repeats drills until execution is automatic under pressure. A soldier trains in harsh conditions so that war feels familiar rather than overwhelming. Their rituals are not luxuries, but shields. By repeating them, they anchor themselves. By anchoring, they become untouchable. Weak: I'll do it when I have time. Strong: time bends to my discipline. One allows chaos to dictate, the other dictates chaos. Your own will is no different. Without ritual, it is soft, reactive, and fragile. With ritual, it is fortified. You must design practices that condition your mind and body to act regardless of mood. This is the battlefield where many lose before they begin. The one who waits to feel ready never acts with power. The one who acts through ritual builds an unshakable presence. Whether through physical training, deliberate silence, or daily study, ritual becomes your forge. Each repetition adds another layer of armor. Each refusal to break the chain hardens your will until resistance itself feels natural. Picture the forge of fire. Imagine walking through flames every day until you no longer flinch. At first, the heat feels unbearable. Then it becomes familiar. Finally, it becomes a mark of strength. Ritual is that fire. By placing yourself in controlled difficulty daily, you teach your mind that storms cannot harm you. A cold shower, an early rise, an hour of disciplined focus. These are sparks of flame. Over time, the sparks merge into a blaze that tempers you. What once broke you now feels like routine. There will be times when others mock your devotion to ritual. They may call it unnecessary or obsessive. Do not argue. Respond with calm precision. Ritual builds my strength. A ruler does not explain why he sharpens his sword daily. He knows dullness invites defeat. Your response must carry the same certainty. Ritual is not performance for others. It is preparation for yourself. Iron will is never an accident. It is the result of choosing consistencies over comfort until consistency becomes identity. Your rituals are your fortress. Without them, You are exposed to every wind of distraction, every storm of doubt. With them, you are a citadel. Ritual is the fire that makes you unbreakable. Power reaches its highest form when it no longer attracts open challenges. History shows that some leaders rose to a level where rivals hesitated even to strike. Their presence alone created hesitation. Augustus secured Rome, not only through military might but by consolidating image, alliances, and authority until opposition dissolved. The Ming emperors projected such dominance that rebellion often died in whispers before it could form. These rulers were not untouchable because they had no enemies, but because their enemies feared the cost of moving against them. To reach this point is to cross into rare territory, a throne surrounded not by constant battles, but by silence. In modern life, untouchability is not granted by empires, but by status built so deliberately that attack becomes self-defeat. Consider the leader who has fortified reputation with consistency. When critics attempt to discredit him, their attacks highlight his strength rather than weakness. The entrepreneur whose results are undeniable cannot be dismissed by slander. The professional who builds credibility through years of unbroken discipline cannot be toppled by one accusation. This is modern invulnerability. You become so established, so consistent, that opposition collapses under its own weight. Weak. I hope they don't attack me. Strong. Any attack strengthens my position. One is fear of perception. The other is mastery of perception. To build this strength, you must think beyond individual victories. Do not only win arguments. Construct presence so solid that arguments against you appear foolish. Do not only succeed in one venture, build patterns of reliability that shield you from temporary storms. Untouchability grows from layers of consistency, alliances, and restraint. You must appear difficult to attack and impossible to weaken. Hypothetically, picture yourself as the Ghost King. Enemies swing at shadows, yet you remain seated, calm, unshaken. They waste energy on illusions while you conserve strength. This is the effect of positioning yourself so far above petty rivalries that you no longer even appear as a target. They hesitate, fearing the backlash, fearing the futility. In this form, you rule not by constant confrontation, but by presence alone. At times, someone may still test your strength. Perhaps in a meeting, a rival undermines you publicly. Do not answer with aggression. Sit steady, respond with calm. The course remains, nothing more. The restraint itself reveals that you are beyond disruption. The strong ruler does not descend to wrestle in the mud. He holds the throne, and the throne itself answers. Untouchability is not arrogance. It is not a claim of perfection. It is the outcome of disciplined positioning, consistent proof, and mastery over reaction. It is the ability to command respect even in silence. By constructing such authority, you do not eliminate enemies, you make them irrelevant. Become untouchable, and the world bows without a fight. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Wisdom is not cruelty, it is clarity. Power that survives unites many weapons into one command. A sovereign without enemies is not one who hides, but one who converges silence, ritual, hunger, and foresight into a single throne of presence. The path you have walked through stillness, elimination, masks, wolves, and chessboards all leads here, the archetype of the untouchable ruler. Think first of the weapons you now carry. Silence has taught you to command without excess. Ritual has forged your will, so storms break against it. The wolf has given you hunger that refuses comfort. The chessboard has trained your foresight. Alone, each weapon is sharp, but limited. Together, they form an arsenal that cannot be breached. Leaders of history understood this convergence. Augustus united political reform with military dominance and image management, creating an empire that lasted centuries. They were not one-dimensional figures. They became sovereign because they combined discipline, vision, and calculated restraint into total authority. Now, place these weapons in modern hands. The professional who commands silence in negotiation, who lives by ritual rather than impulse, who fuels ambition like a predator, and who maps networks like a strategist. This individual becomes nearly invulnerable. Colleagues hesitate to challenge them, not because of fear of aggression, but because their position feels unshakable. Their consistency, clarity, and restraint create a presence too solid to undermine. Attacks aimed at them collapse into admiration or futility. Weak, I hope others respect me. Strong, my actions make respect unavoidable. Respect born of consistency is stronger than affection born of chance. The throne without chains is a paradox you must master. Power often creates enemies because it humiliates those left behind. Yet there exists a level where the throne is so fortified, so carefully built, that hostility weakens itself by attacking. In business, this looks like reputations so established that competitors who attack only confirm their rivals' dominance. In personal life, this looks like confidence so grounded that critics appear petty against it. The sovereign does not destroy every opponent. He makes opposition irrelevant. By refusing unnecessary conflict, he ascends above rivalry. The throne becomes a symbol, not a battlefield. Imagine the sovereign archetype, a ruler whose enemies swing at shadows while he sits calm, untouchable. They exhaust themselves in whispers and schemes, yet none of their strikes land. This is the Ghost King. He does not even need to retaliate, because his position is so high that blows cannot reach him. You can become this figure in your domain. When you remove weaknesses, feed your hunger, discipline your ritual, and play the long game, you stop being a target of rivalry. You ascend into a space where attacks bounce off the armor of your consistency. Consider the moment of disagreement. Someone questions your authority in public, attempting to rattle you. The untrained react with anger, explaining or defending. The sovereign pauses, lets silence fall, then delivers a single measured line. The course remains calm, decisive, beyond argument. The room recognizes the difference. Weakness debates, sovereignty declares. The sovereign without enemies does not waste energy. He rules by presence, not reaction. The immortal archetype is not fantasy. It is a metaphor for a life lived in mastery. When your habits, presence and foresight are sharpened into alignment, you create a legacy that outlives immediate rivals. You become untouchable, not because no one tries to strike, but because striking you is futile. Your silence unnerves, your ritual fortifies, your hunger advances, your strategy positions. The convergence of all these principles becomes your crown. This is the climax of power. Not domination through fear alone, not affection that fades with moods, but authority so disciplined, so consistent, that opposition fades before it can even take form. You no longer wrestle in the mud with rivals. You rise above them until they cannot touch you. Conquer yourself and you reign without enemies. Every throne left unguarded is taken by another. If you fail to master yourself, you invite others to rule you. In the modern world, every smile can hide a dagger. A colleague flatters you only to outmaneuver you later. A friend encourages you, but resents your progress in silence. Social approval often conceals hidden costs. If you lack discipline, you will be blinded by charm and deceived by appearances. The warning is simple. Without mastery, you stand exposed. You become a pawn on someone else's board, moved at their will while believing you act freely. The opposite path is mastery. When you build presence, ritual, and foresight, you rise beyond rivalry. History shows that rulers who cultivated this control endured where others fell. Machiavelli noted that fortune favors those who act decisively, and that memory of loss cuts deeper than grief itself. The sovereign who commands himself is remembered not for luck, but for steadiness. Authority that rests on mastery does not crumble in storms. It grows stronger because no enemy can find a fracture to exploit. The reward is not applause, but endurance. You gain a reputation that silences opposition before it begins. To reach this state, you must give yourself marching orders. Sit upon the throne of your own mind, or accept the role of pawn. Weak, I will wait until conditions are right. Strong, I move, and conditions adjust to me. Weak, I hope they see my worth. Strong, I prove my worth through command. Life is unforgiving to those who linger. Power flows to those who claim it with clarity and composure. Picture the battlefield. One who hesitates is trampled, while one who advances defines the direction for all. The choice is yours. Your throne awaits. No rival can seize it if you occupy it fully. No enemy can harm you if you deny them openings. Every day, you either ascend or you surrender. The sovereign path is not given, it is taken by self-rule. Rule yourself or be ruled.